or the retailer. And last but not least, Simone Chiappi, here is on stage now. Simone is probably one, I mean, you still look extremely young, but you are one with the most widest experience in smart metering. I think you started at Enel in Italy, then
on this big pilot that we are running. Germany, Sweden, Italy is a bit of an exception because although we do have retail business, we do not have distribution business. As such, we are not responsible for the rollout of smart meters directly. This is left to distribution businesses in Italy. And the meters we do have been rolled out by Enel. The situation is, of course, quite complex for us because we are operating in different countries. And in E.ON, we are in favor of smart metering, provided the right conditions are in place. For us, the right conditions mean there has to be a mandate from the government. Not only that, but also there has to be a clear indication of how that investment or part of that investment can be recouped, particularly by our regulated part of the business. As you all know as well, the other key element in here is the third energy package from the European Commission, which stated that by actually beginning of last September, every member state in Europe should have made available a cost-benefit analysis. And if positive, then member states are bound into rolling out 80% of their smart metering platform by 2020. So we've got so far a lot of positive cost-benefit analysis, which means we are now obliged to roll out. There are a couple of exceptions, at least in the country where we do have smart meters. One is the Czech Republic, who announced a negative business case with a recommendation of starting rollout later on in 2018. And more noticeably so, our home country, where we started the business, which is Germany, who so far has not expressed any opinion on that and has asked for a delay of the cost-benefit analysis by end of January 2013. In terms of the model that we used for rolling out, pretty much everywhere in Europe and here in the countries you see in red for the pilots or in orange where the rollout has started or finished, we see usually the distribution company who's in charge of the investment, who's in charge of the operational effort, who puts basically the meters in the home of the customers. There is one exception though, which is the UK. And in the UK, so far, we see three big differences compared to all the other countries where we have smart meters. Number one, the retailer and not the distribution business is responsible for the rollout. So the retailer companies, the ones that operate in the open market, are responsible for procuring the meters, installing in the house premises. The second difference is that for the first time we see that this is not just pure electricity or gas meter rollout, but in the UK an in-home display is also mandated by the government, so we have a little bit more of a complex scenario when it comes down to installation. And the third difference is that the data collection is not operated by the distribution companies or the retail companies directly, but the UK have established a data collection company, a centralized data collection company, which is independent from the utilities business, which will be appointed by public tender and will come in operation towards the end of 2014. So what is the situation in the UK? We have a mandate, as I said earlier, for retail company to roll out. The mandate will start, the rollout will start in 2014 and will finish by 2019. So far, though, the government has given the freedom to utilities, if they wanted so, to start pre-rollout plans or big pilots, just to get more, as usual, as you would do, more to learn how to deal with this big operations exercise we are about to do. And this phase is called basically the foundation phase. In this foundation phase, out of the big players in the UK market, only 2 companies have announced serious big numbers. One, of course, is British Gas, who's one of the major operators in the UK market, and the second one is E.ON. We have decided basically to roll out 1 million meters between the beginning of 2011 and the third quarter in 2014, which is when the rollout will properly start and the DCC, which is this data collection company, will come in operation. And I'd like to, first of all, explain why we decided to embark ourselves in such a big project, and also what have we seen so far, what are the key lessons we've learned based on some numbers that we've done so far. And first of all, we really want to try to carry out these trials to gain some learning and getting a better understanding to be ready for the mass rollout. So that's obvious. We really want to gear up, try to figure out how we're going to go about it, how to organize ourselves and our installation workforce, our procurement workforce, etc. In the UK is also pretty much a way of trying to engage your customers, which is very important. And so far, I have to say that we, by the end of 2011, we have installed around about 100,000 of those meters, and now we are almost approaching 300,000, and based on our plans, we are well on schedule to deliver the 1 million meters by 2014. We can see, of course, what are the key things we are trying to learn in here? Well, first of all, we have, the first area is all regarding the customer. Customer is very important, and we try to identify what is the best way of engaging our different type of customers. We're also looking, because of course we recognize that just installing a smart meter is not enough to guarantee engagement on behalf of the customer. There's a lot of activity that is needed before the installation, during the installation, but also after the installation has finished. And the second thing that we're trying to learn is an area that we have called value. At E.ON, we have to install in the UK overall more than 8 million meters in 5 million homes. And the business is expected to spend just over £1 billion investment, which is really a huge commitment. So of course, we owe it to our customers and our investors that we make sure we are doing things very efficiently. And we are using, of course, the possibility that is given to us with this foundation period to understand how to reduce the cost and how to go about it in the most effective way. But we also have a wider E.ON objective in our strategy, which is the one to try and transform really our relationship with our customers. We have launched a program in the UK which is called Reset. And Reset is really all geared around trying to give our customers transparency and also build trust, which is, of course, quite a difficult thing to do. But we have seen so far, based on the results of this big pre-rollout project, that smart metering are definitely a big enabler to build trust in our customers. And I'll explain to you why in the next couple of slides. But as you know, the other important thing, which is a little bit unique, I think, in the UK as opposed to other countries in Europe, is somehow the complexity of the industry. Because it's a market that is being highly deregulated, there are many players. It's not just distribution companies, retail companies, you've got meter asset operators, you've got meter owner operators, you've got many different type of activities and businesses. The processes are very complex. It takes a lot of data exchange, it takes a lot of engagement from different companies whenever a customer decides to churn or decide to change operator. So we believe that we're very pleased to see so far that a lot of effort have put in place by the government to make sure that as a result of this big revolution that the industry is going through by the installation of smart meters, many of these processes will be simplified. And as a result, this will be a great advantage for us and of course for our customers. We have a lot of trials, of course, whilst we are deploying these smart meters, on top of the deploying of these 1 million meters. And some are already being in execution, some are just planned, and the aim is always to try and understand customer experience and, of course, operational learning. I've just put a couple of examples in here. We are running a first trial with Age UK. Age UK is is a charity that looks after and takes care of the elderly in the society. And now we are seeing that in this trial particularly, we are seeking to build on a long-term relationship that we have. And in this trial, we want to see how partnering can work for smart metering. So what we're doing is we are testing whether providing access to a trusted body, which is not necessarily the utility in this case, but a trusted body, and using co-branding can help deliver also a higher response rate from our customers. Customers have the choice to engage directly with us, with E.ON, or go directly to the Age UK. And as a result, we are also training some of the Age UK people so that they know how to deal with customers when it comes down to energy. If that was to work, then we believe we have a very interesting model in here where we try to capture engagement from customers using methods that are a little bit outside of our usual way of operating. A second trial is on energy efficiency. This is quite self-explanatory. Whilst we are sending people to install meters, the question arises whether we could take use of that time to maybe do something more with it. And the something more is trying to offer customer advice on their energy consumption and during the installation time. So what we've done is we took some installers to try, and we basically we have upskilled some of the workforce so that they can also provide these energy input, energy savings advices to our customers. So we will track this down and make sure that we see how that works. So what have we learned so far? Well, from looking first at a customer perspective, we have very positive findings, I have to say. First of all, as an example, most customers are invited to join our trials through direct email, and we have found that there is a real intent and real curiosity, and also a very good response when we talk about smart meters. This is even better than when we talk about our traditional metering offering. But at the same time, we've also seen differences based on segmentation. So not everyone is definitely very keen. The segment that is more enthusiastic about is the older and the retired age groups. Whilst we've seen that particularly segments of the more affluent and also the more economically struggling have not responded very positively. This is fine. I think we just need to improve our engagement in there. Usually, when we come down to engagement with customer, we measure our performance with a Net Promoter Score. And I have to report that for smart metering, we have found that we can achieve a actually very high Net Promoter Score result. Plus 27 is a number that many of our traditional business would be more than happy to have, I can assure you. So that's all very encouraging. And also when it comes down to the monitor, the in-home display that we are installing, we are already seeing that overall 94% of our customers are using them, and of which more than half are using them on a daily basis. Then you've got some quotes here from some customers. I will leave you to read it for yourself. But basically, it is important, as always, the simple elements in here make a difference. So what is really important is to make sure that there is a real engagement with our customers, that that we show up when we say we are showing up, and let them know in advance what is the plans, how long the installation will last, what we are trying to do, explain them how the things work together, and of course we have always to remember to clear up before we leave, because that's also a very important part of the process. And finally, a little bit of learning from our operational perspective as well about this foundation trial that we are running. One thing that we had that worked really well for us, on top of anything else, is a center of excellence that we have created in Nottingham. A center of excellence basically is a dedicated front and back office that support throughout the foundation, provides support to our customers, and deals with appointment bookings or any post-installation queries and problems they might have. We have tried really hard to create a learning environment where our meter installers, our program team, spend some time. They usually spend some of their time in this center of excellence. At the same time, the Center of Excellence and the program team spend also time with the installers in the field. Because we found out this is really crucial, because it really helps the program teams and the Center of Excellence to understand how these meters are installed really in the end. Sometimes we found out the difference between people in the office and people in the street is too big. And then you end up paying for that extra installation steps that really do not need to be there. It is also important that the customers have a good experience from smart meters, as I said earlier, but by the very nature of the things we are trying to do here, which is a big trial, we will be able to find things that needs to be improved. So that's where the Center of Excellence almost works like a gatekeeper that is capable to catching up problems as they are shown by our customers, and then feed back into the program team so they can act on and program things differently for when the real rollouts will start. This has been so successful, in fact, we're planning to open another one in Bolton, which is another city around Manchester area. And through, of course, our trial work, we are also well on the way towards the other foundation objective, which is achieve operational readiness. We now have a significant number of dual fuel train meter installers, which was a little bit of a challenge for us, which we usually had either electricity meter installer or gas meter installers. We tried to merge the figure into one. And of course, we have achieved a smart meter accreditation for our trainers as well. We have found ways in which we can improve the number of jobs on a day-to-day basis by improving the scheduling of the jobs, by automating manual processes, of course, as we heard also from previous presentations, and providing better equipment and so forth. But whilst we are still managing to maybe reduce significant the time spent overall in the customer premises, we also found out that it was better to spend more time explaining to customers how the display works. And that is all connected to the Center of Excellence experience that I was mentioning earlier. We have, of course, selected our initial compliant meter provider and display provider, and have appointed smart meter service operator to provide services during the foundation. And in considering also the challenges, both current and future, there has been significant time and effort in achieving each one of the elements that I was mentioning earlier in the value chain. And we have a lot more to do. But, for example, we are already establishing a field force presence and logistics where we have density, but we need also to take care of those parts of the country where we do not have density, because you have to remember this is not distribution-led, but is a supplier-led rollout, so not necessarily we have big concentration in every area of the country. And we also know that some customers are hard to engage, harder than others, and we need to work with that, of course. So in conclusion, I think I've shared with you that we are doing, share with you what we are doing and some of our early learning, and hopefully also share the important message that there is a huge message. There is a huge amount to do across the whole of the supply chain, and I can only say that I'm very happy that we started early, because had we waited 2014, it would have been a very challenging situation for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. And please, I would like now to ask all the speakers to come up here for the panel, and also ask my audience, hey, you will never have such a focused competence again around smart metering. So please take advantage of it and put forward your questions or listen to them, and yeah. Thank you. And we have the microphones. Where are they? Yeah, there.